Okay, we're gonna do a quick run through what we've checked out yesterday for the intro of this video. Here's the take the cowl off the old Johnson here. Massive. All right. Now, using quick history. So we just bought this boat. If you haven't seen my other video of us bringing it home, and the complications you're about to see in this video were some things we just noticed as we were going through the engine. We hooked the battery up. That'll be another video, what's going on with that. I tried it a couple days ago, but couldn't get it to work, so I said, let me try it again. Hooked the battery up, tested the trim, got it to trim down, but we could not get the trim up. As you'll see, we went through this entire block here, and I'm gonna pick y'all up, move you closer and show you. But the gentleman we bought the motor from, you see the shiny bracket here? That's where the fuel pump goes. All right. As the story goes, the gentleman we bought this from, he was out with his wife several years back. They were in Galveston, off the port of Bolivar Peninsula, or off the ferry landing of Bolivar, coming in to somewhere, and the engine shut off. Well, long story short, his wife was pumping the primer bulb here to limp them. I'm sorry, they were out somewhere and they limped themselves while pumping the primer bulb to near the ferry landing on Bolivar Peninsula side, and it stopped running. They had to get towed in. Well, anyway, he told me he thought it was a fuel pump. That's what this silver bracket is. Loose hose here. We have a loose wire here. Not sure where that goes to. There. So anyway, long story short, there's several things in here that were clipped and nipped, and we were just like, what the heck is this? Where does this go? Blah blah blah. As you'll see in this video. So I want to give you a walkthrough real quick. Anybody looking to troubleshoot the trim on a Johnson 200 OceanPro or similar Johnsons of this year, this is your trim relay right here. There are two relays up and down. Add this in here, this mix, I forgot. There is a fuse right here. This fuse, you can see, which will track it. Let me zoom out just a smidge. It goes, follow this wire here, it goes into some coating, and it goes up into here. And when you track this, it goes up here and then it splits off to multiple different things. I don't believe that this is part of the trim. I don't think it is, but it's right next to there. So if you come here, it plugs in right there, snaps in. This wire was tucked up and behind, like so, behind our relays. Now, what's really cool too is there is a spare fuse underneath it. Boom. It's actually in pretty good shape. There's that little addition, just in case. If you check in these, check this fuse too. I don't know if it has anything to do with the relays. It might, but that could be a fail point too. If your trim's not working and you got power to the boat, start with these. Check and make sure these work. If these work, then maybe come over to this side of your engine. Check and see if you're getting power to your switches. There's your cables right there. Do what you have to do. Get your voltmeter. Make sure you're getting power to these. Okay. If you are getting power to that, then, and you're not getting any power down here to your trim itself, then there are wires. I don't know if we can see them. You can kind of see. Well, anyway, figure out a way to get this up. Make sure you're getting power to the trim itself. Now, that's how you're going to troubleshoot that. I didn't have to go that deep into it, so that's as far as I'm going to go. However, start with your relays, work yourself back, make sure you're getting power here. If you got power here, then back trace yourself back through. Now, the cable that was cut is this one right here. You can see where I put my heat shrink, my waterproof connector. It was cut back here. I'm sorry, it was disconnected back here with the plug, and it goes down you can kind of see it goes down into a harness, which the harness is this harness right here. This goes up, goes back towards the front, comes up, and it goes, kind of get you guys in here to see that. It comes in that port right down there where that blue wire's at. You can kind of, let me see if I can get a better shot of that. Right there, that rubber boot where it comes in. You can see my wire, my red wire going down. There's my heat shrink tubing. Well, anyway, that's what we did. You need to zip tie this back up somewhere. That's what we did there to get that fixed. Reconnected that. And now we have up and down trim. That's what I wanted to do, show you guys that, give you guys anybody looking at this stuff. I mean, I'm trying to break this out as much as I possibly can. This is only for the trim section of this video, or trim section of this part of the process. Instead of burying it in a 45-minute video, I want to make a short clip here. But that's what we got. Remember, if you're checking it, check your trim, find your trim relays. Make sure you got power going to these, make sure they function. And then if you got power there, check your switches on the side of the motor over here, or wherever they are on your particular model. The Johnsons are all pretty similar. It seems like you're going to have a very similar setup. If you have power here and you don't hear anything going down to here, check your connections on your trim pump and then go from there. If you have power down here, something's up. Something should be working somewhere. And if nothing's still working, then your pump might be shot inside. It just depends. But that's how you check connectivity. Check out the rest of this video, see if it helps you. Thanks. Here we are.
Looks like a big mess of wires.
Yeah, look at that. So there's the back of our trim. That could just be like a bunch of sealant though. So nothing looks odd.
Except for whatever you're moving goes to this.
That? That might be our up trim. But how do we test that? Yeah, see how they're hooked in unison. So the hot comes in, hot jumps over, and that's why it's not working. So it might be it's this block. So where does this go? So here's our trim, right? So let's do this. Let's move this out of the way. Darn it. Let me fix that once. Here's our trim. We're gonna pull this.
So we got the motor to trim down, but we can't get it to trim back up.
Okay, so there's that. Okay, so we got this wire goes up into a harness, and it goes up into the harness. These two come back here. We have the blue splitting off. So this blue wire right here. So here, so there's that. So this is our trim. Switch plug. Here's the plug that goes to the side of the motor. This is what plugs into that. We have a red wire that goes up. We have a orange wire that comes into the relay. And then we have a blue wire that comes down into here, goes into here, and then this goes through here and probably goes up to the throttle on the trim up and down on the throttle. The trim down on the throttle works. Now, we have a connector right here. It is not going into anything. We have a connector right here, but this is for something to do with the fuel. So I'm pretty sure that doesn't go. Through some trial and error, we pulled this whole wiring block off so we could get to the back side of our relay, as you just saw. I found this cut wire within here, and a lot of this has to do with the trim, and I was just wondering if maybe this guy here coming off the trim block was part of it, but the colors didn't match. Well, we were looking for another connector like this. We found one, which is this one right here, and sure enough, the colors of these two do not match. So we took it on a hunch, wired it back up, touched these two together. Now we have an up trim. Gone, touch it back, push the button. All right, as you saw in the last clip, our phone died, but we went ahead and spliced it together. So we added some extension here to make it longer. It had some red automotive cable. We have some waterproof self-solder seal connectors, and then we went ahead and put some heat shrink tubing around it too. You can see here. And now we have trim. It works really well. Really well. There's that. There's the down. It's the jacks. And then now the steering, the actual one on the throttle works too. A victory today. The Johnson is trimming up and down with its own power. Here we go.